Osco Drugs was a chain of pharmacies that operated in the United States from 1937 until 2007. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified of the latest video. Please hit that like button and leave a suggestion or a comment. You might see that in a future video. Thanks for watching, and now back to our regular scheduled program.
At some drugstores, they seem to think people only get sick between 9 and 5. At Osco, we know better. When most everybody else is closed, there's an Osco pharmacy near you that's open all day, all night, all year. At Osco, you can count on people who care.
Samuel Skaggs brought his family from Missouri to Idaho. As a minister of a small group in a small frontier town, American Falls, Idaho, he needed additional support for his large family. He opened a small grocery store, but to compete with the few that were already operating, he changed his business model from one of credit accounts, which were tailored to the sporadic and seasonal income of farmers, to a cash-only basis. Attracting customers to this simpler arrangement would make sense if he could sell for much less than his competitors. While the margin would be lower, he avoided the risk of non-payment of accounts. To drive down the wholesale price of the groceries he sold, he bought them in larger lots than competitors. In those days, large lots were defined by some fraction of a railroad carload, and when American Falls was a stop on the Union Pacific Railroad, this afforded Sam Skaggs an opportunity to buy and sell for less. In April of 1915, SM opened the Skaggs cash store with his own hands on rented property on borrowed money. The store was about 18 by 32 feet. It was located in the original town of American Falls, adjacent to the Union Pacific Railroad tracks, and he apparently bought large lots from the rail cars and sold them to the public. That store became Skaggs Store No. 1 and is now beneath the American Falls Reservoir. In 1960, Samuel sells this store to his third son, Marion Barton Skaggs. Sam and his wife Nancy had 15 children. Of the first 11 children, 9 were alive in 1900. Of these, there were 6 sons who came to be known by their initials. Pepper Oscar Skaggs was known as AP, Aaron Sylvester Skaggs was known as SA, Marion Barton Skaggs was known as MB, Lorenzo Skaggs was known as LL, Samuel Olney Skaggs was known as LS, and Levi Justin was known as LJ. So did you get all of that? It will be important in the future. In 1937, L.L. Skaggs and Harold Finch found Payless drugs in Rochester, Minnesota. It was the Midwest's first self-service drugstore. With the opening of a second store in Mason City, Iowa, the following year, the name was changed to Self-Service Drug, Inc. In 1942, the corporation Self-Service Drug, Inc. was dissolved and succeeded by Owners Service Company, a partnership of L.L. Skaggs, H.B. Finch, Paul Stratton, and George Hilden. From this company, Osco was coined. In 1961, the Jewel Companies, Inc. acquired the 31 Osco stores in 6 Midwest states. In 1962, the first side-by-side Jewel Osco store opened. The early Jewel Osco combo stores were 2 individual stores, separated by an interior wall and in some locations a half wall, allowing a customer to go back and forth between each store without having to go outside. After the merger, all of Jewel's subsidiaries soon had an Osco drug. By 1968, Osco grew to 168 stores in 16 states. During most of the 1960s, Osco operated as 2 divisions, City Osco, comprising the Chicago, Illinois, and Chicago suburb stores, and Country Osco, all the other Oscos. These two divisions were combined in 1968 to form Osco Drug Inc. When the Jewel Companies Inc. acquired Buttree Food Stores in 1966, many of the stores were converted to a combination store format and bannered as Buttree Osco with common checkout stands but separate store management, all under one roof. In the late 1960s, Osco was seeking to purchase or build a photo finishing plant to service its stores. At the time, the company was using outside vendors, and the film developing quality and service were inconsistent. In 1970, working with Kodak, Osco built a photo finishing lab in Illinois. In November of 1980, the Jewel Companies Inc. purchased Save-On Drugs Inc., which was headquartered in Anaheim, California, and had 150 stores in California, Nevada, and Texas. The Save-On chain became Osco's Western region. If you'd like to know more about Save-On Drugs, check out my other video on my channel. In 1984, American Stores Company, which consisted of Alpha Beta, Acme Markets, and Skaggs, acquired the Jewel Company. In 1989, a new subsidiary, American Drug Stores, Inc., was formed and consisted of American Stores, drugstore holdings of Osco Drug, Save-On Drugs, and the Osco side of the Jewel Osco Food Drug Combination Stores and Prescription America. American Stores had the strategy to build a nationwide network of pharmacies, streamline operations, and advertising to gain national recognition for the brand, especially for the high-margin private label products. The name Osco Drug was chosen as the national chain banner because of the large number of stores which already had that name and existed in various parts of the United States. The name change was completed for the Skaggs drugstores in 1985, and then from the Save-On stores in 1986. The name Osco did not resonate well with Save-On's Southern California customer base. American Stores eventually made the decision to change the name of the former Save-On stores back to Save-On Drugs. Rumors circulated at the time claiming that the reason for the name change back to Save-On was due to Osco having the same pronunciation as the Spanish word asco, which means nausea or disgust, a considerable factor within Southern California's heavily Hispanic market. This explanation for the name change was refuted by American Stores. In 1994, American Stores converted 25 Jewel food stores in Chicago, Illinois to Osco Drug freestanding stores. These older and smaller Jewel standalone stores were closed so that American Stores could focus on the combination formats only for Jewel and to expand Osco's presence in Chicago as a response to Walgreens' increasing market dominance. The Osco stores replacing the Jewel stores contained expanded food and produce presentations and were coined Osco Food Marts. In 2002, Albertsons sold 84 freestanding Osco drug stores in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine to the Jean Coutu Group, a Canadian drugstore company. Jean Coutu rebranded the acquired Osco stores as Brooks Pharmacy. In March of 2005, Albertsons reintroduced the Osco brand name to the New England region by way of its Shaw's and Star Market pharmacies. On June 2, 2006, the sale of Albertsons essentially split the company into three parts. CVS Corporation purchased the 700 freestanding drugstores, the Osco Drug and Save-On Drugs. By 2007, these stores were rebranded as CVS Pharmacy. SuperValue purchased the Jewel, Acme, Shaw divisions, and the remaining Albertsons stores not acquired by Cerberus. SuperValue retains the Osco and Save-On Drug trademarks, allowing the pharmacies in their grocery stores to remain branded as Save-On Pharmacy or Osco Pharmacy. The SuperValue owned Albertsons stores and the chains it acquired were in turn sold to Cerberus in 2013, and Osco and Save-On pharmacies moved their operations to the base of Albertsons LLC. Hey, if you just watched my video, thanks for watching. Hit that like button and please subscribe to Eric C. Productions.